boy Bleeds. Everybody listen up. Let's get it. I'm trying to put money in your pocket. That crypto wallet. That bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
What is going on, true believers? How do you celebrate Friday the 13th? The Trump administration takes a machete to your crypto wallet. Welcome to the show. My name's Bleeves. We're here to talk about this crazy crypto world. And 24 hours after being elected, all wars in the world stopped, as promised by Donald Trump, the 47th president of the United States. I'm just kidding. Of course it didn't happen. Now, nobody voted for Donald Trump because of that reason. It's always funny when people bring up, these weird sort of campaign promises that are just really impossible to uphold. But here we are. It's an interesting day. Iran has been fired upon by Israel. It is being alleged so far that many of the major bosses in Iran have been killed. Military leaders, the Republican Guard of Iran, whatever they're called, that these people have been decimated and or wiped out. Iran has now raised the red flag, which means that that's a declaration of war. So I don't know if we're going to see a retaliation like we saw last time. Remember, we had this happen a few months ago. Israel launched bombs into Iran, didn't hurt anybody, didn't kill anybody, or didn't do major damage to life. Then Iran responded and sent their bombs. And then, of course, when they sent their bombs, they told everybody where they were targeting, because it was basically a controlled demolition. It was really to give the appearance that Iran was retaliating, when in fact their retaliation is more guerrilla style warfare at this point, boots on the ground type stuff. So nothing really became of it, but tensions remained high. So here we are today with the whole thing starting to play out like a nightmare scenario. Now, it hasn't been as bad as you might have thought. And the reason that I'm going to say that is because, guess what? Bitcoin's still over 100,000 at this point. People are not being moved by this because I think there's a lot of people who are seeing the market's not going to last this way. Also, it should be noted, and I'm not going to defend and say, this is the best possible solution. But let me tell you, if there were presidents, if there were members of the U.S. government who were going to focus on stopping the war, Donald Trump's going to be that guy. So there is probably no better hand to be holding the rest of the world right now than Donald Trump. You might not like him, but he also, the way you feel about him, he feels about war. So, and you could see Lindsey Graham came out of the closet long enough to post, "Let's go, baby. Game on. The war has begun." Manufacturing, baby. Lindsey Graham is all about manufacturing new bombs so that people can kill each other. That's his lane. That's what he does. And it's good for his constituents, which is why it's a thing. So make sure that you hit the like button on the way in if you like what I'm saying. If you don't like what I'm saying, hit the dislike button, but subscribe to the channel anyway, because if you don't, you're an asshole. How about that? I didn't mean that. You're a really nice person. I'm the problem, not you. I am the problem. All right, let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about how much crypto you should own, what cryptos you should have in your portfolio, and how much of them if you want to be a millionaire, or if you want to just, if you want to ball out and you want to get there, then I'm going to tell you exactly how much you need. The numbers are surprisingly simple, and we're going to go down a list and we're going to try to figure it out. But before we do, today is another red day. Jason has taken his machete to all of this. And yes, it's the second time I did a Friday the 13th reference. If you're not watching a Friday the 13th marathon today, something wrong with you, bitch, not me. You know what I mean? Like, it's Friday the 13th, bro. So everything down pretty big. Not looking that good. But listen, here's the thing. Did that sound like Joe Biden for a second? Listen, here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing, right? What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Here's the thing, folks. Touch my hairs. Touch the hairs on my legs. Jack, or whatever he says. So, what is going on? I mean, we'll just go through here real quickly. You can see it's just been a full-on sort of capitulation. And you might look at it and you're like, oh, my God, what is going on? Well, let's stop right here. Look at all of these negative 10%, negative 15. This is falling off the earth type shit happening right here. Well, let's close this out. Let's go back to our fear and greed index. See that it's at 61. Okay. And let's move a little bit further down, and we can see that the supply actually went up a tiny bit for today, or went sideways for one day on the supply. Now let's get into it. Where are we? Let's look at the total market cap. Total market cap. Where are we? Guys, we're at a price point that we haven't seen in 5 days. Okay. It's not that bad. You know what I mean? That's a little bit wild. Okay. I don't know how much Crypto Cappy, what's going on, man? How much NAMI should we buy? I don't know yet, because I don't know what the circulating supply, like they're going to give me a script and everything for that at some point, and then we'll talk about it. I don't know what the appropriate number is at this point yet. But here's the other part, though. I think they'll be motivated to make sure that price pumps like crazy. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that they're going to be motivated to, like most exchanges and places like that, when they launch their tokens, they also hold back some of their supply, and they carefully create a situation in which they can buy more so that they can continue to pump their chart. And I think that that's probably what's going to happen. That's probably what you're going to see. And if you go down and you look at most of these, and you'll see the same thing happening. Weeks, if you guys remember, the Weeks token, it's down like the rest of the market. But I mean, when you look at it and you kind of zoom out, like, look what happened. It had a nice little start. Then it, boom, took off to about 3.5 cents. Then it came back down for this little drink right here. Then they burned a bunch of tokens, and then the price started to rocket again. And now we're at this spot right here, but we're minting, the same thing over and over again. We're higher lows. We're going higher lows. So it's only a matter of time before that leads to an explosive move. And all of them do the same thing. So I would suspect that no matter what you buy of NOMI token, it's probably going to increase in value pretty rapidly. So, but let's get back into the total crypto market cap, prices we haven't seen in 5 days. So we're not that bad off. Okay. We were at 80,000 Bitcoin not that long ago. We're at 105,000 Bitcoin right now. Now the market does seem to be dipping a little bit more as the US market sucks their way into investment, if you will. Dow Jones starting off the day down 609 points. I mean, here, look, this is just manipulation, and it's not necessarily just manipulation. Everybody's taking advantage of the news in order to get your money out of your pocket, right? So, and by the way, when you look at, we should talk about that at some point. We're not going to do it today, but we should talk about that at some point, how they're extracting value from you, and then they're shaking you out of your position, and then now they've got your money. That's what's happening over and over and over again. If you don't sell, and by that I mean everybody, if nobody sells, nothing goes down. The only difference you have at that point is everything goes down or up based on its comparison to another product. Like, for example, If nobody sold their crypto and they only accumulated, price, of course, would continue to rise. But the question would be, are people still getting US dollars and stuff like that? Where does crypto rank based on the US dollar? That's the only comparison that you have, or to the euro or to the yen, whatever. But if you don't sell, they can't shake you from your position. Although the other part to that is, if you don't sell, crypto becomes less attractive. Because if they can't manipulate you and they can't shake you out and they can't steal your money from you, what's the point? And that's the honest assessment of cryptocurrency, by the way. So let's keep going. So we're consolidating right at the spot where I said this is our resistance area, and this is hopefully going to be the zone in which we bounce in. Now, I should probably, while I'm at it, move it down just a tiny bit here. Whoops. Because I think that, I'm pretty close, but want to give a little room for a little variance right there. And then up here, those are the tops. And I think that, right now we're kind of in this sort of right there sort of range. So if you're going to go long right now be a perfect time to go long on almost anything. If it falls within that range right there, looking at the crypto total market cap, wherever you are right now, probably going to run. That's going to be what, 5%? Is that? It's about 8%. So it's about an 8% window there. That's a significant spot. So let's break down what's going on and how much Bitcoin do you need. Now, Bitcoin dominance, by the way, look at this. Started to come down just a little bit the other day, spiking back up. Again, I think we're headed to Bitcoin dominance levels that we haven't seen in a long time. And the reason for that is, let's break down what's happening here. Bitcoin's still down 1% on the day, but as we go down, VET down 5.5%. XRP down 3%, Ethereum down 4.5%, Solana down 5%, Ondo down 5%, SWI down 7%, OM down another 6%, Devi down 3%. Going down the list, you'll see the same thing over and over and over. Arrow down 7%, Conflux down 6%, Crow down 6%, Fetch down 9%. All the way down, you're looking at these big time losses after big time losses the day before. But you know what's holding up remarkably well? Bitcoin. So, we have to recognize that this is still a Bitcoin market. So that dominance probably about to spike. And it seems like all of that money going down, but Bitcoin not going down nearly as much. Capital rotation is the next thing. As people protect their capital, where do you protect your capital if you're in crypto? Two places, stablecoin and Bitcoin. So that's why you're seeing this rotation right now. But let's talk about how much Bitcoin do you need. And really, to figure that out, it's very, very simple. We need to figure out where do we think Bitcoin is going to go in this next cycle, right? Now, I've given you my number, and my number was very, very simple. And it was based on the bottom of the previous market to the top of the previous market. And then we were looking for that golden ratio. So this is basically what we're looking at right here, is we're looking at Bitcoin going to about 175,000. We're going to use 175 as our number, as our minor goal. So 175,000, Bitcoin probably surges up into the 200,000. So what we'll do is we'll say that our ultimate goal, just to be a nice rounded number, is going to be 200,000. Okay. How much Bitcoin do you need in order to become a millionaire? 5 BTC to be a millionaire here, right there. Did I type that the right way? Oh God, no. Horrible. But 5 Bitcoin to be a millionaire right here. So that's where I think the market is going. We're doing this based on that fib retracement and the perfect golden ratio that is constantly being hit. So that's where we are. Now, let's talk about VeChain. VeChain was also part of the bull run in the previous market. So we have to, if we're trying to fixate on where it's going to go the next time, then we have to figure out VeChain right here. And we're going to do this first before we do Ethereum. We have a goal on Ethereum. Remember, that's 27 cents right there. So now the question is, where does it go for the golden ratio? Golden ratio is at 71 cents. So we're going to call it 70 right there. And then we're going to get rid of that. So 70 cents is going to be the number for VET. Now, how much VET do you need to have? Well, if we take 1 million and we divide by 0.7, then that means you need to have 1.428 million. So let's say you have to have 1.5 million VET in order to become a millionaire. Where are you right now? VET is trading at 2.2 cents. So how much would it cost times 0.022? $31,428. So what I'm telling you is, it is my estimation that if you had $31,428, you would be able right now to buy the 1.428 million tokens that would be required for you to become a millionaire on VET tokens right here. So you're going to need 1.428 needed for millionaire. So you need 1,428,000 VeChain tokens. If you have that much, my friends, you're a millionaire. You just haven't had the check cashed for you yet. What's up with XRP? Where do we think that XRP is going? Well, I gave you my prediction a long time ago. My prediction a long time ago was that we were going to $25, right? So we're going to take that $25 right there. We're going to remove some of this stuff right here, and we're going to make this one very, very simple, all right? Because it's $25, so you can do the math in your P brain. See, 40,000 coins to become a millionaire. I guess we should put at $25. Simple and to the point. This one's easy. I've already given you $25 as my prediction. You need 40,000 XRP. I don't know how many you have. If you have 40,000 XRP, go ahead and put it in the comment section, and make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Also, you might be having a little bit of trouble unless you're a subscriber in commenting or anything like that. I was able to figure out some things yesterday. Maybe, just maybe, I fixed some of the content stuff that's been, the attacks that we've been having. But anyway, let's keep going, because Ethereum, what's the number that I gave you for Ethereum? It was my estimation that 8,000 was going to be that number for Ethereum, right? I gave you potentials for 12,000, by the way. I gave you a bunch of other ones, but ultimately the number that I kind of settled on here was 8,000. So I think that Ethereum is headed to 8,000. Again, that is a simple mathematical equation that you can do in your P brain. So you need 125 Ethereum to be a millionaire at 8K. So if you have 125 Ethereum right now, when Ethereum goes to $8,000, then you, my friend, will be a millionaire. So it is very simple. All you have to do is be ready to hodl. Now, the next question is Solana. And I haven't figured this one out yet. Just kind of, I think I have an idea. Here's the problem. Okay. I don't know that is a legitimate move right there. I think that there's a possibility it could go so much higher, but for the purpose of this, we're going to just kind of leave it as is. And we're going to say, well, there we go. So our last move there was to about 260 or so dollars. So we're looking at the next breakout is going to be in this range. That's, to me, doesn't seem right. Okay. It seems to me that if we look at it from this context, we should probably move up here, because the reason for this, by the way, because it launched in the bull market. Okay. It doesn't have a full bull market play. Okay. That's why we're a little bit different from the previous market. You can see that it did spike, but again, it launched like it launched before the market had a chance to really absorb it. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is a better estimate. And in fact, when we look at it from this context, let's look at the bottom and start with the bottom of this market to get there. So that puts us in the realm of where we're talking about. Okay. $760. Okay. So we're going to say basically, and I mean, we've already circled the spot here, but $750. So now we've got 750 set up. How much do we need? So a million divided by 750. Boom. We need 1,333. So right now you need 1,333 Solana. 1,333 Solana for millionaire at 750. And I put percentage instead of dollar. Get the fuck out of here, please. All right. So you need 1,333 Solana to become a millionaire at $750. Well, how much is it right now if you had the money to buy in today? So you want 1,333. Today, it's going to cost you $144.50. So 144.5 means today you would need to put 192, let's call it $193,000 into Solana today if you want to become a millionaire, if it goes to where I'm predicting, which is $750. Now, could it go higher? Yes, of course it could. Could it break out and do twice as much? Yes, of course it could. But it seems like the crypto likes these golden ratios. Markets like to hit the golden ratio from the previous surge. Again, I don't think that surge is right because it was not during, like, again, I think that Solana was just getting, found at that spot, didn't have a long-term history. So I think we have to use today's history to kind of figure out where it's going before. And that gives me 750. So $192,666 today. And you would buy enough Solana for when the bull run really starts to hit, you're going to be a millionaire. So the next one is going to be Ondo. Same premise with Ondo. Ondo does not have an opportunity. It really hasn't had, it wasn't in the previous market. So the breakout to this is going to be based on the current trends and what it's doing. So in the event that we do that, we go from the top to the bottom, because we're looking at a longer time frame, then what we're looking at for Ondo is about a $5.50. So we're going to do 550 right there. And that means that we need 1 million, and we're going to divide that by 550. And that means that we need to have 181,818. So 181,818 to become a millionaire. 181,818 to become a millionaire at 50. All right, so at at 550. Okay, so how much would that cost today is the question, right? So what's current price? Ondo's current price is 77 cents. So we're going to call that 77. So times 0.77 means that you currently need $140,000. If you have $140,000 and you put $140,000 into Ondo, then most likely you're going to make it. You'll be a millionaire. Now, the thing to consider here is if you had bought it at the bottom, we have to really look at, like, where was the bottom over here? We're talking about the bottom being at around 7 cents on launch, 10 cents on launch, let's call it 8 cents. So it launched at 8 cents. Man, we missed out on that one. You know what I mean? That's a fairly significant sort of run right there. So if it plays out the way that it does, then you're going to need 181,818, and then boom, you are going to make it. Sweet. Now let's talk sweet again. The fundamentals of sweet are that it was not released in the previous market. So not being released in the previous market means that we have to make an educated guess based on the low and the high. So we take the low and the high, and a lot of these are going to come in the same kind of realm here because of the lessened area of volatility. But that gives us $13.33. So we're talking about $13 as the price action, kind of right there. So at $13, we're going to take 1 million and we're going to divide it by $13. How many do we need? We need 76,923 sweet. So 76,923 to YouTube to become millionaire at 13. All right, so that's what you need, 76,923. Now, the current price of SWI, $2.98. So times $2.98 means you need $229,230. So if you had about $250,000 and you could throw that into SWI right now, you're probably guaranteed to become a millionaire. You're going to hit that golden ratio most likely as that bull market really starts to break out. Now, OM, we're not going to do, I let that collapse right there. So this tells me, and remember, this is another one that didn't launch and get a fair shake during the bull run. So the fact that it broke this way tells me that this number might be, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to tell you what the number is because God damn it, I can't stop myself. But, you know, we look at it from this context and we say that, you know, 920-ish was about the top. So where does it go if it makes a full-on breakout? And that answer is going to be up here at $24. So we're going to call this $24. Holy shit. All right. So at $24, we're going to take 1 million and we're going to divide that by $24. You need to have 41,666 tokens, 41,666 OM tokens right now in order to become a millionaire if it were to break out. And guys, I'm just saying this. I'm not saying I really have a problem thinking that OM is going to get there in this cycle. Now, if you're good with holding it for another cycle of altcoins, maybe that feels, based on the narrative, that feels a little aggressive. Now, by the way, I say that knowing what happened with Solana, guys. I want to say that, you know, let's look at this for an estimate and an idea. And I guess maybe this is the fairest way. There's the breakdown that happened from, there was the top up there, 250, 268, whatever it hit before. And then there was the break all the way down to like $8. So this one collapsed just like OM collapsed as well. And now look at it, it's already hit a new all-time high this year. So, you know, perhaps, you know, I'm being a little bit, I'm not looking at it the right way. Maybe it's actually going to do it. So, you know, we're going to watch it. Obviously, we're going to be really intrigued. And by the way, look at this, is fucking beautiful, actually. Like, this thing is really, 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 the next top over here is going to be like 350. Holy shit. So anyway, OM, if it has that breakout, then you're going to need to have 41,666. The question is, how much does it cost right now? 25 cents. So how much at 25 cents times 0.25253 equals, you need $10,541. This could be your big breakout. This could be your big win. Now, do you not have $10,541 laying around? Okay. I mean, look, not everybody's going to make it. Not everybody's going to make it to a millionaire in this run. What we want is we want to make the maximum amount of money possible. For some of us, it's going to be 5, 10 million. For some of us, it's going to be maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 million. For some of us, it's going to be 100,000, 200,000. Maybe even we lose money in the whole thing because something comes up, we're not able to. But the point is, if you have $10,541 right now, based on where OM is right now versus the narrative versus where the top is alleged to be, based on that golden ratio, then you need 41,000. You need 41,000. And by the way, God damn it, I forgot to 41,666. So we need 41,666 to become millionaire. All right, so 41,666 will get us there. Now, this is my baby. You guys know Devi, and I already know the answer to Devi. My estimate for Devi is that by the end of this bull market, by the end of this bull cycle, that we are going to be at $50. $50 is the ultimate goal on NASDAQ. And by the way, I think that's low. All right, now I can't explain to you why. It's a feeling that I have. I think that number is low. However, it is my number. So that means I can do the math for you right now. You take $1 million, you divide it by 50, that's 20,000. So ultimate goal, so 20,000 Devi to be millionaire. All right, so 20,000 Devi to be a millionaire is the number. So what we want to do is we're going to take that, we're going to divide by 50, which is going to give us 20,000. Then we're going to take the 20,000 and what's the current price? Well, the current price is 47.64. So times 0.47. Well, shit. 4764 equals, you need $9,528 worth of Dev E right now. If you have more than 20,000 Dev E in your wallet, my friend, you are going to be a millionaire, in my opinion. So again, I don't know what's going to happen. It would be my estimation. By the way, when we look at this, $50 is going to be, like this number right here. Let me show you how again, it's not in the bull market, so I don't have a place to compare or give it that frame of reference. So, best I can say is Devi, right? And now we want to look at something that, for me, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying it's going to be like a $3 million market cap, which is currently OKB. Or ICP. So we could say ICP. So if we say ICP at a 3 billion market cap, then Devi, maybe it's a 5 million market cap. My bad. God damn it. 5 billion market cap. There we go. BitGet number 26. So it's BGB. That's the one. BGB. There you go. Maybe about 60. So somewhere in that neighborhood is where it's going to go. It's got to be worth billions. Look around. Everything that's partnered with massive TradFi. Everything that's partnered with massive TradFi is in the multiple billions. So when the announcement with Devi that they are partnered with NASDAQ comes out, I think it immediately goes to $1 billion. Then I think it's going to dip down. It's not going to dip down very much, but then it's going to reverse because this is going to be a crazy, crazy run. And then once you get, crazy run starts, then you never know what's going to happen or where it's going to end. But ultimately, again, I think that once it hits $1 billion, people start to say, well, yeah, this is undervalued at $1 billion. And then we start to see 2 billion. And then, every time the market starts to pump, then we see another big pump coming. And before you know it, ultimately, if it goes to, let's just, back up here and say, well, what's the value of being, with one of the largest TradFi partners? Does that put you in the top 10? Well, most likely 50 billion market cap, something like that. 50 billion market cap for Devi, by the way, would be $500 per token. Could that be possible? I don't know that is possible, but Dogecoin did it with nothing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, So I'm going to tell you right now, it is my estimation that 20,000 Devi will make you a millionaire in this market. So Terra Luna Classic, it is my estimation. We've done this. I've gone on record here, and it's 0.0027 is the number that I gave you. So right now, if you want to be a millionaire, you got to need 0.0027 will make you a millionaire, which means that you need to be holding right now 370 million Terra Luna Classic in order to become a millionaire. So you need to hold 370 million, and that's going to be, all right, there we go. That's the golden ratio of the last pump. So you need to be holding, how much did I say? Jesus Christ, that's a lot. 370 million. All right, so 370 million to become millionaire. I am not spelling this shit right at all day long. Like my fingers are very Elon Musky today. All right, 370 million to become a millionaire. Now, how much would it take if you bought it today? Considering we're buying right now at 4 zeros 55. All right, so times 0.12345 equals $20,000. $20,370 in Terra Luna Classic right now could make you a millionaire if it goes up and does the 40x that I said that it was going to do. And I think, by the way, that oh shit, you know what? Actually, that number should be up here. There it is. Golden ratio from the original pump. There, right up into boom, 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 right there. All right. So now we got it. All right, that's what I think is that's where I think it's going to go. So USTC, we're going to skip that one. API 3, I'm going to make this simple for you. I still think this is probably going to go to $100 by the time it's done. $100 means 10,000. So let's pull this out. Pull out. All right, so you need 10,000. Again, it's simple math you can do in your head to become millionaire. All right, so for API 3, I think you have 10,000. If you have 10,000, then you're going to be a millionaire. By the way, I have 10,000 API 3. And I have more than 20,000 DevE. So I feel like, you know, all things being told, if I get on a run, it's going to be legend. Wait for it. Hadari. So what about, let's get into some meme coins and let's talk about, you know, where some of this other stuff is going to go. By the way, before we move on, I want to do one more because Pendle to me seems to be one that's kind of set for I think a real sort of breakout here. Let's move out of where we were right there. My buy zone for this was $3. Now I bought, and you know, I'm pretty happy with the bag that I have right now. I bought some Pendle. I'm holding on to it long term. We'll see what happens. But previously, $7.55 was the top over here. So we're talking about this thing going to about $19. So $19 on Pendle. Now, why am I bullish on Pendle? Pendle is the lender that will be. This is the lender for the institutions. This is where the big money comes into play. So I think Pendle is going to have an incredible run, but that's about 6x, by the way, just to be clear here. So if I'm doing this, then I'm saying that it's going to go to about $19, right? So I'm going to take that and I'm going to go $19. That means that you need to have 52,631. So you need to have 52,631 to become, let's just do milli. I'm getting tired of typing the whole goddamn thing out. All right, so 52,631. That's pretty expensive, by the way. Remember, Pendle's trading at $3.67 right now. So times 3.67 means that you need to put about 193,000 into your Pendle right now. Here's the thing, though. I think it's way more likely that Pendle gets to its number than Luna Classic gets to its number, if that makes sense. Like when you see these where it's going to take you 200,000 in order to make $1 million, that is a huge return, but it should be noted that they're far less risky and they've already established a great a platform, if you will, or a base from which to spring and to grow from. So those are the things I would be looking at. Now, ZBCN is not part of, we have to strip out a lot of this if we're doing ZBCN, by the way. So let's, we're going to kind of zoom out here and we're going to take our bottom, we're going to take our top, and we're going to try to figure out where it goes. So we're going to take the bottom pivot right there, and we're going to take the top up here. And then we're going to say that if it goes, then it's going to go to 1.7 cents. So what you're talking about is 1.017 cents, which means that you have to have right now in your wallet 58,823 ZBCN. So 58,123. We're going to take that, put right there, drop this, and then it's going to be 58,123,000 to become milli. And it's EO, not TO. God damn it. I can't get a win today on typing for some reason. Oh yeah, by the way, it might be the Bluetooth. Anyway, 58,123 is going to be that number. Oh my God, it's 823. Jesus Christ, please get your shit together. 823. So let's go back over here and let's want that to be accurate. So 58,123. Where is the price right now? 0.0043. All right, so times 0.0043 means if you put 252,000 into ZBCN, this would not, for me, be the play. Now, here's the thing. This is where it would get kind of interesting here. What if you had bought over here towards the bottom at 307? If you'd bought at 307, oh shit. Let's reverse that. Boom, 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 boom. 307, then it's only 41,000 bucks. So, you know, anybody who's down there at the bottom who got themselves a nice bag right there probably gets a nice little breakout. And by the way, remember, because we're doing the golden ratio, we don't know whether or not this thing is going to take off or not. I mean, if you consider, what if it fulfills the entire Fibonacci? Well, if it does that, then you're talking about a move all the way up into like 3.4 cents, which doubles all of that. You know what I mean? Like, so, all right, Arrow. So on Arrow, again, this is the same situation. These are newer cryptos where you have, and by the way, we've already done this one apparently. We're going to move this down to get to the bottom, and then we're going to make sure that we got the complete top up there. And then we're going to look at it from this standpoint. Right now, that's $3.83. So 383 right there is going to be the ratio. 383, so a million. 383, that's the ratio. And the number is, you need to have 261,000 Arrow tokens. So 261,096. 261,096 to become milli. All right, so if you have a millionaire, you need 261,096 of Arrow tokens. Now, how much can you get that for right now? Well, Arrow is currently trading at 63 cents. So times 0.63 equals 164,490. So 164,490 is what you would have. And by the way, this is not an exact science. This is just using the Fibonacci's. This is me just kind of eyeballing where things are going to go based on where they've gone before. And when we're talking about these major altcoins with these big market caps, remember, there's only so much room to grow because it doesn't grow without Bitcoin, which limits the amount that you can have. The place where you're going to find the easy path is microcaps. Again, DevE, microcap. While we're at microcaps, let's move on right now and let's talk about what's going on in this market over here, meme coins, stuff like that. So how much are you going to need? We already covered DevE, but how much CC coin would you need in order to become a millionaire? Well, if we take the same thing, we're going to remove some of this stuff here. We're going to break this out. Now we're going to look at, what do we need? How many tokens do we need? Well, we come up to the top here and we say, well, that ratio right there puts us at 0.001. It's 178,000 market cap. Okay. So I don't think this is accurate in this regard. Again, it is my estimation that this thing is guaranteed to do 10 million market cap. So I'm going to keep the guessing pretty low. All right. So we're going to remove that. And then we're going to say, well, what does that look like? Well, that would look like 1 cent. Okay. So where is the top over here? And that's going to be right there. We've already done it. Okay. So at 1 cent, there you go. So you need 10 million, 100 million. Jesus fucking Christ, please. You're so gay. 100 million. So we're going to do this right here. And we're going to, oh my God, can you leave comments on this guy? Okay. Yeah. You need 100 million. You need 100 million to become milli. To become a millionaire, you need 100 million CC coins. Okay. Now accumulate, get them right now. Don't play or hate, accumulate. All right. So now we got the number, and now we need to look at the price that it's at right now, which is 3 zeros, 1889. So times 0.123, 1889 equals, if you put $18,890 or you have $18,890 in CC coin right now, you're going to be a millionaire. There you go. So pretty simple. All right, now let's go to the next one. And the next one that we're going to want to talk about is going to be Blocky, because I think Blocky is going to be one of those longer terms. I think Roger's going to put in a lot to make this one work. We're going to leave those things on there, though. We're going to use that Fibonacci right here up to the top over here. And that number Probably. Nope. I don't think so. I think that's going to go quite a bit higher. Again, same kind of scenario over here where I think that it is definitely headed to a 10 million market cap, but I think that 50 million is going to be, this right here is a 10 million market cap. 50 million for Roger and his token is going to be for me, where I think that's going to go. And the simple fact is the difference between CC Coin and Blocky is different goals and different financiers. So I think that, you know, if it does 5x what CC Coin does, CC is still a tremendous success. Blocky probably needs about 50 million in order to, in that same realm, have that same level of success. So that's a lot of whales. There's a lot of whales that are working on Blocky or working with Blocky or being involved in Blocky. So that's going to lead to much higher numbers. So we'll look at that one and we'll say, well, in order to do that, then you're going to need 200 million. So you need, wait a minute, that's 20 million. Which now leads me to believe I just fucked up. All right. Well, it's my fuck up, not yours. So 20, you need 20 million. So there it is. All right. Now, to become a milli. Now, what's the price again? It's 2 zeros, 1478. So times 0.001478 equals right there. You need 29,560, of which I have, of Blocky in order to make it. So I think that's, god damn, that doesn't seem right. Did I fuck something up here? It's 0.05. Yeah, it is right. And then it's 2, and then boom, and then boom, and then boom, and then 29,000. Okay, so you need $29,560 right now in Blocky to become a millionaire. That's what it is. Okay, so Jesus Christ. Woo! Picked the wrong week to quit smoking crack or something. I don't know. All right, so that's going to be it for those. The rest of them, look, I don't know what's going to happen on some of these. There's going to be plenty of time for us later on. We're going to talk about a bunch of these other ones. Like, we'll come back and we're going to revisit all of these. I just want to give you guys the numbers and tell you that, look, there's going to be a lot of money getting ready to be made in this market. All chains total value locked. By the way, BSC down to 4 billion in volume. Ethereum up to 3 billion in volume. Solana down to 2.5 billion in volume. You can see the volume is still there, but suddenly all those BSC things that were happening, not happening, where did everybody go? You know what I mean? Crazy times. All right, Bitcoin ETFs, by the way, had a masterclass yesterday or the day before, something like that. Had the biggest capital inflow. Oh, here it is, right there. No, that's not it. 3,000 here on June 10th. Look at how much got bought by Bybit in one day. 336 million. It was the biggest number in a long time. And they followed it up the next day with 288 million in inflow. Still another positive day for the Bitcoin ETFs. The Ethereum ETF, not so much. I'm just kidding. It's actually still pumping. Guys, if you're not recognizing how manipulated everything is, then you're not paying attention at fucking all. There's a thing called look on chain. Look on chain. Let me show you what just happened a little while ago, because when you look at it, you'd be like, what the fuck? So the Ethereum Foundation transferred 1,000 Ethereum to a wallet 10 minutes ago. Cool story, bro. But this right here, this is nuts. Okay. Let me zoom so you can see this right. While the crowd panic sells ETH, this whale, who's already made 30 million profit on Ethereum, is buying ETH crazily. Over the past 8 hours, he's bought 48,825, $127 million from Coinbase and Wintermute at an average price of 2,605. What does this guy know? Holy shit. Now, here's the hot wallet right here. He bought 69 million from Wintermute. Then he bought another 5 million from Coinbase, then another 5 million from Coinbase, then another 4 million from Coinbase, then another 10 million from Wintermute, and then another 6 million from Coinbase. Then he went to 1inch and he bought 3 ETH. I don't know what that's for. And then another Coinbase right here, he bought another 1.3 million. This guy is accumulating tons and I mean tons. And oh, by the way, down here, 29 million was the original. All right, so after the ETH price increase, the whale who bought 30K, this is the one, this is where he made it. He made $30 million so far. So this guy is flipping massive amounts of ETH and he's making tons of money right now. What does he know? He knows the price is going to keep going up. He is deciding right now, I'm going to make that money. I'm buying the dip. What is your excuse? Are you buying the dip? Speaking of buying the dip, yesterday, I did something that I didn't think that I was going to do. I took about $500, $1,000, whatever I had on weeks. I took it all and I put it into Fetch. Now, the reason that I did that was I gave up on, and I didn't really give up on, but I think it was a question of, do I think that Fetch is going to run first, or do I think Tron is going to run first? Do I think that Pendle is going to run first, or do I think Fetch is going to run first? So I got rid of all my Pendle and all my Tron, and I bought Fetch. And now I think that Fetch is going to be the first one to kind of break out, because as I've been watching it, I feel like Fetch is the one crypto out here that seems to run when AI gets hot. And I think that AI is about to get hot again. That AI seems that Fetch is the one that runs when AI gets hot. So that means to me that there's a real big breakout opportunity right here. So I went ahead and I bought a bunch, because look at this. I feel like this is going to be one of the first ones to cap out and just get on that rip right there. So when it broke out and it just started going crazy, 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 it didn't go as crazy in that last cycle. But here's the thing. I think that this is coming again, because I think that Fetch, because it's tied to NVIDIA, just like Render, I think that Fetch probably ends up just having an incredible breakout sort of moment, and that it's going to run not super hard, even like not even super hard. Just, you know, I just think that there's a lot of opportunity right here, that I think that when the rising tide starts to lift all boats, I think that Fetch gets a nice little rip here and breaks out and at least comes up into this range. And if it 3X's from where it is right now, but everything else doesn't 3X as quickly, then I made money, and I'm going to flip it back over into more Pendle. I'm going to flip it back over into more Tron. You know what I mean? So I'm just making an educated guess that I took my money where I thought, it's not dipping like huge. Like if you look at Pendle's down about 4%, but Fetch is down 8%. And then you look at Tron. Tron is down 0.6%. Got that one wrong. God damn it. Got that one wrong. But, well, I won on Pendle portion of it. So we'll see whether or not we get it. We get that move or not. So, but I do think that Fetch is going to have a big breakout. And when it has a big breakout, it will be maybe contrary to the market even. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking for a big Fetch move. Currently, where is Fetch? Let's see. FET. Number 52 at a 1.6 billion market cap. So, it's got some possibility here. I mean, AI, look, the Trump administration has already said we are hands off on AI for a couple of years. That means that it's going to have a chance to grow. And that means that Fetch is probably going to be the most desirable AI related crypto asset. And you might have a program or a project that you like, that you think is, we moon and dog or whatever bullshit you try to convince people of. But the reality is that the premier AI product right now is the Artificial Superintelligence Alliance. So Fetch, and the FET token is going to be the big one there. So that's what I think is going to happen. And I'm going to make a move on that. And, we'll see whether or not we win or we lose. In the meantime, we are way down because we didn't take a profit. And I told you in my mind, I was like, man, I'm not taking it. Let's just see what happens, because why not? Right. So we're down a little bit on Bitcoin. We were up about $40, but I thought, I'm just going to hold on to it, see what happens. Well, we didn't get the win on that. So I'm gonna, by the way, my liquidation price right here is 84,000. So I feel like I'm good. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, we're down or we're at least break even. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pop into Bitcoin right here. And we're going to take we have money laying on the side. We had $85 laying on the side. We're going to pop that in here and we're going to open that long position right there. We're going to add to our Bitcoin bag. Like I really have a lot of faith that Bitcoin is going to lead the market for that next big surge. So we now have an open order here that we're going to have to modify as well for, yeah, here we go. So we're going to sell the entirety at 124. And you know what? Let's cancel that order. We're going to cancel that one. Now we're going to set a full-on take profit at 124.096 again. And we're going to run that up right there. And all right, there we go. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I think we're going to have a big move right there. I would pull these out and do that and take these losses, but I don't want to take these losses, and I don't think I have to. I think now that I'm putting this money back into Bitcoin, I think that Bitcoin is going to be my hedge right here against that declining price. Now, if Bitcoin starts to go crazy and it goes up near 124, I might cancel this one and just let it run and let it ride for a little while. I don't know yet. We'll see. But from $100, we're at $300 so far, $317 despite this dip. So, you know, maybe, just maybe we'll be in good shape. Now, we already talked about CC, how much CC you need to have. As far as the rest of them go, I really don't know what the number is going to be on Blockchain Beauties. I don't know about Buddy 2. Here's what I know. If I hold on to these, I get rewarded for holding on to it. So I feel incentivized to do that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold on, and I'm just going to let her do her work and see what happens. By the way, if you don't have any Moggy, I still have Moggy tokens. So if you have some Moggy tokens, then I don't know what you can do with them at this point yet. But if get in the ecosystem, because if you don't, you're turning the frogs gay. Anyway, massive exposure coming right here with Blocky. Remember this. We got Altcoin Daily with millions of followers. They're going to do this. Blocky just went full rap god mode. Official marketing. TikTok streets ain't ready for this. They're going to do a lot of marketing, by the way. And I mean a lot of marketing. Huge Blocky marketing campaign drops next week. Get ready. It's bold, it's big, and it's just the beginning. Now, what did I just say? I said a few minutes ago that you should be pretty bullish about what's going on with the Blocky ecosystem. And the reason for that is I think that Roger is going to throw a lot of capital at proving that he can run a project and that he can make something big happen. Now, if that's the case, why is the price action down? You might be asking yourself is. Okay. And the answer to that for me is because Roger's followers are just only pretend whales. They're really just a bunch of brokies who got to sell in order to make a profit. Now, they're going to probably be mad at me for saying that, but I don't give a shit. I'm not going to tell you anything but the truth. And, you know, the truth is when you have this type of chart structure, when you have something like this, then that means that the whales who are holding the position at the bottom are not exactly doing what they say that they're doing. By the way, you can go into the chat and you can see we buying dog, we doing it dog and shit like that. And I said, by the way, fuck that. Like I hate when people when people run bullshit, right? They're like, oh, we need to run, we got buy, we got blah blah fucking blah blah blah. And I said, okay. Well, then why aren't we seeing buys come in? Because, you know, what everybody had was an opinion, and they had this opinion that, you know, we next level bog, we need to support blah, 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 blah. But I'm watching it, and I'm watching it quietly in the chat, and they're all talking a lot of shit. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, where are the buys? Why are the buys not coming in? So I put a buy in, and guess what? It popped up, right? Because I made a buy. So then I was wondering, and I let it sit for about a half hour. I'm like, you know what? You guys are talking an awful lot of shit for people who aren't making any buys. Like, I just bought. You know what I mean? Like, I just bought, and it showed right up in the chat. So these guys are, you know, they are what they are. So anyway, Roger's out here making real whales come in. That's the point. My ultimate long-term point to that was Roger is out putting in the work to make this thing reverse big time. And by the way, if I pull it from Fibonacci, am I happy or am I sad? Am I happy or am I sad? We have the big move. We have the big dump. We had the big repump back to the 236, which happened. We have the big move back down into the 50 and the 618, maybe even down here a little bit further is possible. And then what do we get? We get another reversal going back up to the 382, which is at 2070. And then from there, if we get just a little bit of wind behind the sails, then boom, it breaks out from that point. And that's where we talk about it going to, to 5 million market cap or a 10 million market cap, or hell, even a 50 million market cap. I mean, you never know, right? So there we have it. That's what's going on. So now that leads us to this. You guys have a good weekend. You know how much crypto you need, and you know how to do it. Take $1 million, divide by the target price, and then once you've done it by the target price, figure out how much you need, and then from there, take the current price and multiply it by the current price, and that will tell you exactly how much you need in order to figure out, how much of this crypto do I need to have. By the way, if you do, then, oh, by the way, I'm also getting back into Volt for those of you that don't know. I haven't made the buy yet because when I was talking about it, I was talking a lot of shit about, like, should I get back into Volt? I think I should. I feel like I should. I maybe should. Like, should I or should I shouldn't? Or maybe I should or shouldn't, and shouldn't should. Just talking a lot of mad shit in my brain. And, like, I don't even know where the fuck it is right now. Both Inu, market cap 11 million. Oh, there it is right there. All right. So, yeah, that's it. All right. So, here's what I thought. I didn't think, it didn't dawn on me that this is going to be a magnanimous, incredible, life-changing, life-altering run. It just occurred to me that it's at the bottom, and it usually bounces pretty strong off of that, and it's an opportunity to make some money. So then we'll see whether we like it or not after that happens. So every time it comes down into this range, it tends to get a nice little strong bounce. This one bounced up to about 3. So we're talking about a 50% lift on whatever it is that you put in right now. So I don't know. That doesn't mean that it won't go down more. Doesn't mean that people won't pull money. It doesn't mean that it's even at the bottom. I think that it's at the bottom. Feels like it's at the bottom. So, you could get this run right here to 3. You could get another one of these big time runs going up towards the top of the range. I mean, there's a range right there that looks like it's in play. There's a range right here that, yeah, it looks like we're kind of rejecting off of that. So I would say this and that. Like, there's a lot of high ranges out here that tells me that this probably is an easy 2 or 3x in the short term, and then even more later on. So I'm going to buy some Volt. I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to see what happens here. Get a nice little 2x off of it. Then I'll just take my original investment out, and I'll just be a Volt holder, and I'll be waiting for Valhalla or the moon, or whatever we're talking about right now. I have, for the record, rejoined the Volt chat. I haven't made a comment in there, but I am watching it as we speak. So that's it. That's the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, it's not financial advice. You guys have a good weekend. Have a happy Friday the 13th, and we'll see you after your body's not chopped up by Jason. But if it is, aha.